Waitress gets fired for helping an old man. The next day, she walks into a billionaire's office. What if one act of kindness could completely change your life forever? Rebecca Martinez had been cleaning tables at Murphy's Diner for 8 years. Her tired hands moved in the same way she had learned since she was 34. The morning sun came through the cracked window as she watched an old man try hard to count his coins at table 6. His fingers shook as coins fell across the old table. His jacket was clean but very worn, and she saw that he had only ordered coffee and 1 slice of toast, the cheapest things on the menu. Without thinking twice, Rebecca quietly put a fresh blueberry muffin on his plate when her manager was not looking. She had done this many times before for customers who looked like they needed a little extra kindness. But this Tuesday morning would be different. This small act would start things that would change everything she thought she knew about being kind. What happens after? And the surprising ways life can change. Where are you watching from today? Rebecca had always believed that kindness costs nothing. This was a lesson from her grandmother who used to say, "Mija, when you feed someone's hunger, you feed your own soul." Working the morning shift at Murphy's Diner was not fancy, but it paid for her small apartment and helped pay for her teenage son's college dreams. At 42, she was known by the regular customers as the waitress who remembered their names, their usual orders, and asked about their grandchildren. The old man at table 6 told her his name was Harold Peterson, a retired mail worker whose pension barely paid for his medicine. He had become a regular for the past month, always ordering the same small breakfast and leaving exact change. Rebecca had noticed how he sometimes counted his money twice and how his hands shook a little when he took out his wallet. Something about his gentle way and quiet pride reminded her of her own grandfather. That muffin was not supposed to leave the kitchen. Manager Frank Stevens shouted from behind the counter, his voice loud over the morning talk. Frank was a strict man in his 50s who ran the diner like a very tough boss and always watched the money. "Those cost money, Rebecca. We can't give away food to every sad story that comes in the door." Rebecca felt her face get hot as other customers turned to look. "He looked hungry, Mr. Stevens. It was just 1 muffin. Just 1 muffin today. Just 1 burger tomorrow. That's how we go out of business." Frank's voice got louder, making Harold look up with embarrassed worry. "You want to run a charity? Do it on your own time with your own money." The diner became very quiet and uncomfortable. Rebecca looked at Harold, whose face had turned red from shame. Other customers moved in their seats, some looking away, others watching with clear discomfort. She had put this kind man in a bad spot, and she felt awful about it. "I'm sorry," she whispered to Harold, who just nodded and quietly finished his coffee, leaving his usual $2 tip even after the awkward fight. As he walked to the door, Rebecca could not stop feeling that she had let down someone who deserved much better. The morning rush went on, but the air felt heavy like storm clouds coming. The rest of Rebecca's shift was quiet and uncomfortable. Frank watched her every move like a hawk, making her second-guess every talk with customers. When the lunch rush started, she saw Harold had not come back for his usual afternoon coffee, and that made her stomach feel tight with guilt. She had embarrassed a good man who had done nothing wrong except accept a small kindness he probably really needed. During her break, Rebecca went outside into the cool October air and called her son Miguel at college. "How's your day going, Mom?" his warm voice asked, right away hearing she was upset. "I think I made a big mistake today," she said, telling him about the morning. Miguel listened the way she had taught him when someone was hurting. "You did what Abuela would have done," he said strongly. "Remember what she always told us. When we have little, we share what we can. When we have much, we share even more. You were being human, Mom." But when Rebecca came back to work the next morning, Frank was waiting with a pink slip and 2 weeks' pay. "I warned you yesterday about giving away food," he said coldly. "I can't have workers who think they know better than the boss. This is a business, not a soup kitchen." Rebecca stared at the firing letter, her hands shaking. 8 years of loyal work, coming early and staying late, making customers feel like family. All gone because she gave a hungry man a $3 muffin. Other workers looked away, afraid to get in trouble too. "Please, Mr. Stevens, I need this job. I won't do it again, I promise. Decision is final. Clean out your locker." As Rebecca packed her few things, a spare apron, family photos, the small succulent plant Miguel gave her for Mother's Day, she saw the morning regulars watching with worry. Mrs. Chen, an old woman who always ordered green tea and wheat toast, came over quietly. "This isn't right, dear," she whispered. "We all saw what happened. You were just being kind. If this moment touched your heart, please give the video a thumbs up." Rebecca walked out of Murphy's Diner for the last time, holding her cardboard box of memories, wondering how she would tell Miguel that his college money might be in danger. The October wind felt colder than usual, and the future looked as unsure as the clouds above. That evening, Rebecca sat at her small kitchen table with bills spread out like cards telling a scary future. Without her diner pay, she had maybe 6 weeks before she could not pay rent. Miguel's spring semester payment was due in 3 months. The numbers did not work, no matter how many times she added them again. Her phone buzzed with a text from Miguel. "Mom, I can take a semester off and work full-time. We'll figure this out together." The message broke her heart and made her stronger at the same time. Her son was ready to give up school because she chose kindness over keeping her job. "Absolutely not," she texted back. "Your school comes first. I'll find something." But looking for a job at 42 was not easy. Most restaurants wanted younger waitresses, and her years at the diner gave her little experience for other jobs. 3 days of "no" and "we'll call you" made her feel less sure of herself. She started to wonder if Frank was right. Maybe she was too soft for the work world. On Friday morning, Rebecca decided to walk downtown to clear her mind before sending more applications. The cool air felt good on her face as she passed tall, shiny office buildings where people in nice suits rushed to meetings. She stopped in front of Peterson Holdings, a huge building she had walked past many times but never really saw. Something about the name made her remember. Peterson. Where had she heard that name lately? Then she remembered. Harold Peterson, the old man from the diner. Could it be the same? Through the big glass windows, she saw a fancy reception area with marble floors and fresh flowers. A security guard saw her standing there and came over politely. "Can I help you, ma'am? I'm probably being silly." Rebecca started, feeling foolish. "But I'm looking for Harold Peterson. I'm not sure if he works here or—" The guard's face changed to surprise. "Mr. Peterson, do you have an appointment?" Before Rebecca could explain, a familiar voice called from behind her. "Rebecca, is that really you?" She turned and saw Harold Peterson getting out of a black car at the curb. But this was not the same man from the diner. The old worn jacket was gone, and he wore a perfect, expensive suit. Have you ever faced something like this? Let us know in the comments. Harold's warm smile was the same, but everything else about him looked different as he walked over, making Rebecca wonder if she was seeing right. "Harold." Rebecca's voice was almost a whisper. "I don't understand. What are you doing here?" Harold's eyes smiled with the same kindness she remembered, but now there was something more. A quiet power that she had not seen at the diner. "I was hoping to see you again. I heard what happened at Murphy's." "You heard? But how?" Rebecca's mind was racing, trying to understand the poor man who counted coins for toast, and this man in a $1,000 suit. "My name is Harold Peterson," he said softly. "And this is my building. I own Peterson Holdings." He pointed to the tall tower behind them. "I have been visiting small businesses around the city for months, including Murphy's Diner. I wanted to see what life is really like for people who struggle to pay bills. Rebecca's legs felt weak. You're that Peterson, the billionaire from the Forbes list. Harold nodded, his face serious. My money came from my father's real estate company, but I had forgotten what real kindness looks like. When you gave me that muffin, you did not know who I was. You saw an old man who looked hungry, and you fed him. No hidden reason, no hope for a reward, just pure kindness from the heart. The morning sun made long shadows between the tall buildings as Harold went on. I tried to call the diner yesterday to talk to you, but they said you were fired for helping me. His voice sounded heavy, and Rebecca knew this talk was going somewhere she never expected. When I heard why you lost your job, I knew I had to find you. Rebecca, I want to give you a job here at Peterson Holdings as Director of Community Relations. Your work would be to find and help local businesses and people who show the same real care for others that you showed me. Rebecca looked at him, sure she was dreaming. I have no experience in office work. I'm just a waitress who lost her job for being too kind. You have something better than experience, Harold said. You have true kindness and the bravery to do it even when it costs you. That is what this company needs. He stopped, looking at her shocked face. The pay would be enough to make sure your son finishes college and give you the safe money future you deserve. If you've been enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. Rebecca felt her whole world change as Harold held out his hand, offering not just a job, but a whole new life built on one small kind act. 6 months later, Rebecca stood in her new corner office watching the morning sun light up the city view. On her desk was a small framed photo of her with Miguel at his college graduation, a day that had seemed impossible when she was fired from Murphy's Diner. Next to it was the succulent plant that had grown a lot in its new sunny spot. Just like Rebecca herself, her job as Director of Community Relations had become more than anyone expected. She had started scholarship programs for students who work, made help groups for old people, and worked with local diners to give meals to people who could not pay. The work felt like the bigger version of who she had always been, but now her kindness could help hundreds of people instead of one at a time. Harold knocked on her open door, bringing 2 cups of coffee and wearing the same warm smile that made her want to help him that morning at Murphy's. "How is our newest scholarship student doing?" He asked about a young mother they had just helped start nursing school. "She starts classes next week," Rebecca said, feeling the happy feeling that comes from really changing someone's life. "Harold, I still can't believe this all started with a blueberry muffin." Harold sat in the chair across from her desk, looking thoughtful. "You know what I learned from visiting those small businesses? Real kindness is rare, Rebecca. Most people are kind when it is easy and costs nothing. But you were kind when it cost you everything. That is the difference between just giving and real good character." Rebecca looked out her window toward where Murphy's Diner used to be. It had closed 3 months ago because it could not compete with newer places that treated customers like family. She had heard that Frank Stevens now worked at a fast food place across town. She did not feel happy about his trouble, only sad that his fear of losing money stopped him from seeing how important people are. "Sometimes I think about that morning," Rebecca said quietly, "and wonder what would have happened if I had just followed the rules. If I had not given you that muffin, then a hungry old man would have stayed hungry," Harold answered simply. "And neither of us would have learned that the smallest kindness can make the biggest change. Your grandmother was right. When you fed my hunger, you fed your own soul. And by doing that, you showed me what my money could really do." As the afternoon sun made golden patterns on her office floor, Rebecca thought about her grandmother's words and how true they had become. She had lost a job for feeding someone's hunger, but she had found a new purpose that fed hundreds of souls, including her own. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Sometimes the kindness we give away comes back to us in ways we never expected, showing that being generous is never really lost. It is just planted like seeds that grow when we need them most.